You are listening to Drive on TAB Radio.
A brilliant goal. He's raced away to win by a good half dozen lengths.
Webby sitting there as cool as a cucumber. And the Asian Beau first up.
Asian Beau untouched will race away and win easily by 2 lengths. Do his best, Asian Beau. It's all over. And it's Asian Beau 2, 3 in front.
He was a dream.
Yes, that was Asian Beau, and it is, of course, the week where we do honour Asian Beau, the great champion from the late 70s, with the Asian Beau Stakes on Saturday. So I thought Riley would be a great opportunity to get the rider that had so much success aboard Asian Beau throughout his illustrious career in Graeme Webster Snr on the program to talk about the champion and perhaps a few other champions at Graham Road as well. Graeme, it's a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, Alex. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to have you joining us as well, Graeme. Riley Morgan here with you as well. He was a WA idol, this horse, Asian Beau, and I'm sure this week in the build-up to Saturday's Asian Beau Stakes brings back some terrific memories for you, Graeme.
Yeah, it certainly does. That's Riley, is it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, it is Riley, yeah, for sure, yeah. He had a lot of great times with Asian Beau and especially his trainer, Bert Harrison. Bert was a great man and a great trainer of racehorses.
Talk to us about the start and when Asian Beau announced himself, Graeme, because he was only very lightly raced at 2, but sort of as he got to his 4- and 5-year-old seasons, he really announced himself as one of the best horses in the state and quickly the state's best sprinter.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he only raced twice the 2-year-old, and he won both times very, very easy. He always showed a lot of promise before he raced, but Bert had to nurse him as a 2-year-old because he had trouble with shin soreness all the time. So Bert, being a very patient man as he was, he just put him away till a 3-year-old.
Sorry, go on, Graeme.
No, I said which paid great dividends in the long run.
What type of horse was he behind the scenes? What can you tell us about what made him so great?
Oh, well, he was a stallion. He was a magnificent looking horse and had a great temperament for a stallion. He was a lovely placid horse and very easy to handle.
What do you remember of Bert's handling of the horse? As you said, he wasn't one to sort of rush him and put him through his paces too early into his career. How was Bert able, through your eyes, to get the best out of him to perform at the level that he did?
Oh, well, as I said, Bert was a very patient man with him because he always knew the ability he had. And I think that he never over-raced him and more or less just nursed him the whole way through.
What kind of horse was he for those of us that don't know much about him? Was he a horse that raced on pace? Was he one that had a fantastic turn of foot that came from behind? How did he win his races?
No, he was an extremely fast horse. If he didn't lead, sometimes he led, or other times he'd be just sitting up behind the leaders. And when he in a race, he always travelled like a winner. He was, so he was the fastest horse over road he was. He was a beautiful animal. When he won the Winterbottom Stakes, I hardly moved on him. He won the 1200 and he won 8.5, which is really flying along.
It was an Australian record for a long time, I believe.
Yeah. What was the Winterbottom like back then? And we know it's a Group 1 race now and the biggest sprint race, well, maybe usurped by the Quokka. It depends how you see it, but it's one of our biggest races now. Was the Winterbottom back in the late 70s? Did it have the stature of one of the biggest races in Perth and biggest sprint races?
Yeah, well, it did, yeah. Actually, the three main ones leading to the railway were the Winterbottom was 1200, the Steer Stakes was 1400, and then the railway, they were the only lead-up races and the Prince of Wales Stakes as well. They were mainly the lead-up races to the railway in those days.
Now, talk to us about that 1979 campaign. You talked to us about those, or you told us about those races, the Winterbottom, the Lesteer, the Railway, and I believe you told me that back then it was a $100,000 bonus for any horse that was able to claim all three. And Asian Beau did that in 1979. Can you talk to us about that time and, I guess, his domination over that December carnival?
Yeah, he won the three. Actually, the railway was worth 100 too then, and the prize was only for the winner was 70,000. So the bonus was worth more than the winning stake. And but Asian Beau, when he won it, they never ever put the bonus on again. Well, they probably didn't think a horse could win it, but. Previous years in '73, I won the same treble, the railway, the Winterbottom, the Lesteer ran the railway on a very good mare called Star Glow.
And did she could you draw parallels between Star Glow and Asian Beau?
No. She was a very, very honest mare, could race up on pace, but never had the speed that Asian Beau had.
You talk about the speed that he had, Graeme, and obviously when you have that speed early in your races, you can generally take bad luck out of it. But did you still feel any extra pressure leading into those big races that he was able to win?
No, I didn't feel any pressure, really, because I just really knew the ability that he had. But I can just give you an example of the pace he had as a 3-year-old in a 1,400-metre welter. He drew 16 at the barrier, and he was that quick out the barrier. By the time he'd gone a furlong, I was running second on the fence on him. So that's how fast he could cover a field.
There weren't many horses over here in WA in that day and age that garnered much attention from over east, Graeme. But this horse, there were some high-profile Eastern States trainers that were clamouring to get their hands on him with some big offers. Do you remember that time and the attention that he drew from some of the biggest stables over in the Eastern States?
Yes, I remember Bart Cummings was here at the time and Colin Hayes, and they all did mention what a very fast horse he was and how good he was. And I'm sure they would have loved to train him, but as it turned out, the owner sold him to Yossi Goldberg, an owner of George Ways. So George Way ended up with him going over east.
What was he sold for? Do you know what the price was?
700, I think 700,000.
Wow, that is a staggering amount back in, was it 1979, 1980? That is incredible. Yeah. It was a bit of a golden era for racing in WA that time, wasn't it? There was a fair bit of money around, and you had those champions, but you also had a great representation from the east, and you often would get the absolute best Eastern States horses coming over to vie for our riches.
Oh, for sure. In the 70s and 80s, it was the golden year racing in West Australia. We had all the top trainers bringing their top horses over. Bart Cummins, Colin Hayes, Jeff Murphy, etc. Joey Hall from Adelaide came over a lot. And his son David Hall, who trains in Hong Kong now, he brought horses over here. And it was just, and they brought the good horses, like Diana, which won every derby in West Australia as a 3-year-old. In Australia, as a 3-year-old, and Kingston Town and Metallution Up. You know, really great horses.
Certainly were some great horses. What was your emotion, do you recall, when Asian Beau was sold to the east? I know I did see a video piece with Bert Harris, and he basically said he was heartbroken and quite upset when the decision was made by the owner to sell Asian Beau.
Oh, yeah, well, actually Bert was devastated. to lose him because you only get one Asian Beau in a lifetime. But naturally I was disappointed because I knew that I'd never be riding him again. So, it was a bit disappointing. I did get up at the ride on him once over there in the Futurity Stakes, but I didn't go because there was a real good horse in it called Manicato, and I didn't think he could beat him, so he ran second to Manicato.
Wow, not a bad effort. Manicato, wow.
No.
Well, you made the right.
Yeah.
You were a good judge.
Yeah. Well, that stage Manicato was nearly unbeatable.
Hey, Graeme.
You probably remember him.
There's one off the text line here from Rusty. He says, "Hey fellas, can you please ask Graeme how good a horse called Wolf City was?"
Oh yeah, he was a very, very good horse. My brother trained him. Colin trained Wolf City. Very, very versatile horse. Not a big horse, and he'd carry big weights. But for example, he was so versatile that I rode him in Newmarket at Belmont, and he straightened up last and got up and won. In the same year, he ran third in the Perth Cup over 2 miles. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we took him to Queensland for the Doomland Cup, and his first out there, he won the Tattles's Cup very, very easy. But in the Doomland Cup, he went a miss, unfortunately. So he finished about midfield, but he was a very, very good, honest little horse.
Yeah, right. You've ridden some champions over the years. What about Winnie? I want to ask about him. He was a horse that he was fancied in a Karrakatta, wasn't he? And I think you told me he wasn't suited by the barrier and ran fourth, and then came out and won the WATC Derby only a few months later. Am I right in saying he was another? So he was one of the absolute best horses that you rode?
Oh yeah, I classed him as the best all-round horse I rode because his first day as a two-year-old at Belmont, the initial stakes was only 4.5 furlongs and 900 metres. And he got out of the ground on the straight to win. He got up and won it. And then he was so versatile that he went and won 1.5 miles. And then in his last race start in the Queensland Cup over 2 miles, he only got beat by a horse called Reckless, which was racing very well at that stage.
That also went pretty well.
And he was only bred to be a sprinter, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He was by a top sprinting sire called Zavornik out of a Lambert mare, which was both sires were sprinting sires mainly.
And then he went, of course, over and had a great career. With I'm just reading here, he carried 64 kilos in a Mel Vista Stakes, and the second top weight was 53.5. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, that was Farrenfor was a horse that he was a very good horse in his own right, Farrenfor, and the third horse only carried 49.5. But he carried the 64 very easy and won without a lot of pressure. So it was a big weight drop, a big difference. Yeah.
What did he do to earn 64 kilos in a Mel Vista prior to that sort of run as a 3-year-old in a race like that?
Oh, he'd won the Guineas and the Belgravia and a couple of other races. He won the Strickland Stakes as well as a 3-year-old.
And I remember Bart Cummings saying he was particularly proud of, I don't remember, I did read about Bart Cummings saying he was very proud of what he did with Nawini because of the fact he trained him to win so many great staying races, being only a sprinting bred galloper.
Yeah, well, I run the Hill Stakes on him at Rose Hill, and when Bart had him, and then I came home, and then Bart ended up winning the Queen Elizabeth Stakes on him, an Australian Cup, and various big races. I can't remember them all, but Bart had a great success with him.
Yeah, right. Phenomenal. Hey, Graeme, Did you venture much to the East Coast for your riding back in those days? Was it as common, I guess, as it is now? If a jockey wants to jump on a plane and ride for a weekend over in Melbourne, they'll do that. Is that how it was back then? Did you venture much to the East Coast? Did you spend much time there?
No, I didn't. No, I only went over and just rode a couple of horses like Wolf City and
Royal Coral?
Royal Coral, yeah. First race he had over there at Caulfield in a mile and a half after on the Perth Cup here. I rode and he won that. And his next start, he started in the Australian Cup. It was 2.25 miles in those days. But he didn't run, I think, his first that run over a mile and a half flattened him out. But he went on to be a very handy horse. He won a Geelong Cup over there, and he beat a horse called a Red Crest that only just got beaten in the Melbourne Cup that year.
Mm. And you rate him the best day that you rode, don't you?
Yeah, the best day I rode, yeah. He raced in 4 Perth Cups for third as a 2-year-old. He won as a 4-year-old. As a 5-year-old, he ran second and gave the winner a mare called Special Reward a 2 stone and weight. He had 9 stone 5 and she had 7 stone 5, so he got beat by a head. So, and then he raced as a 6-year-old, but he ran about 6 that year.
Graeme, it's been a terrific trip down memory lane, particularly for someone like myself who hasn't obviously had a great deal of exposure to some of these champion race horses from yesteryear. What is your involvement these days now with the racing here in the West, Graeme? Do you still get along to the races frequently?
Oh, yeah, definitely do, yes. I go to watch my 3 grandsons ride. The 3 boys are very, very good riders. And also I've got a granddaughter that just started to ride Graeme Webster. But, the boys, Brad, Chris and Brad and Steve, they're all very good riders.
There's some talent in the family, isn't it? It's quite astonishing the amount of success and talent just littered through generations of the Webster Parnham family. What about Shani? She's only just started her career. I think I saw a picture of you out at the races after she won. I think it might have been at Belmont a few weeks ago. You must be really proud of what she's been able to do in her short career to date. Yeah.
She's going along fine. She's like all of us when we're young. She's just got to keep progressing and learning, which she's doing quite well. Yeah, we're very, very, very pleased with her.
Fantastic, Graeme. Hey, thank you so much for giving us a bit of your time this Tuesday afternoon. It's been great to go down memory lane and find out a bit more about a few of these champions like Noel Winnie and Asian Beau. Really do appreciate it.
No problems. A pleasure to speak to you.
Thanks, Graeme. Graeme Webster Snr joining us on the program to talk, as we said, about a few of those champions, but particularly Asian Beau, given it is Asian Beau Stakes week. We'll take a break. More on the other side.